talk about elimination. So real quick, we have 3 steps for solving by elimination. Okay, and there are 2 ways to solve by elimination. Today we're going to look at the basic way, and then probably Friday or Monday we'll look at the way that we use multiplication. But first step, write the system so like terms with the same or opposite coefficients are aligned. Step 2, add or subtract the equations, eliminating one variable. That's why we call it elimination. With substitution, we substituted. Here we're going to eliminate. And then we're going to solve the equation. And then step 3, substitute the value from step 2 into one of the equations and solve for the other variable. Write the solution as an ordered pair. So what you're going to want to do is write this problem down. We're going to work through it together in class. We've got lots of examples. And so I've got 4x plus 6y equals 32, and 3x minus 6y equals 3. Now before we even start from the beginning, I want you to tell me, in just looking at these 2 equations, what do you notice? Yeah. Go ahead.
They both have a 6y.
They both have a 6y. One is positive, one is negative. So let's think about things. If I add a positive 6 to a negative 6, what do I get? 0. So really, if I add these 2 equations together, just say if I add them together, I get 4x plus 3x, which is 7x. I get 6y and negative 6y, which is 0y. It's nothing. And so really I have eliminated the y. Oh, and so then if I look again, I've got my equal sign here. And then I've got 32 plus 3. What is 32 plus 3? 35. Oh, look at how slick that worked.
Wow.
By adding them together, you've eliminated the y's. How do you solve for x now? Divide by 7. And so I get x to equal 5. Now, here's where the work with elimination comes in. Because what I need to do is plug 5 back into either the first equation or the second equation. And as you can see, it's not as nice and neat as it was when we had substitution. Okay. So I could plug 5 into the top equation. So I get 4 times 5 plus 6y equals 32. So do you see now why I said there's a little more work? Because 4 times 5 is 20.
But it doesn't matter which one you put it in?
No, it doesn't matter. You will get the exact same answer. So what do I need to do now? Subtract 20. Right. So when I subtract 20, on the left side I have 6y equals 12. Now what I need to do is divide both sides by 6. What do you get y to equal? 2. So those are my 2 solutions. Remember, how do we always have to answer these? As an ordered pair, because remember, what this is this is where they intersect. That's what we learned about when we graphed those. This is the intersection point. So you must write your answer as an ordered pair. Alrighty, questions? Let's look at another one. So negative 4x plus 3y equals negative 3, and 4x minus 5y equals 5. As you're writing it down, you should be making some observations. What do you observe?
Negative. The 4x.
Yeah, the x's. So you observe that if you add the 2 equations together, a negative 4 and a positive 4 cancel each other out. So then now I'm going to go ahead and look at the y's. I have a positive 3y, negative 5y, which is negative 2y, equals, what is negative 3 plus 5? 2. What do you now do to solve for y? Divide by negative 2. In which case, what does y equal? Negative 1. Now, where do you take the negative 1?
Put it in the Y spot?
You put it in the y. Now, you could put it anywhere. I'm going to put it in the top equation. Reason being, I notice the bottom equation has a minus 5y. That minus 5 could present some problems to some of you. I always like to try and stay away from dealing with the negatives, and I know the top equation has 2 negatives, but they're not as close to the y as this one is. So then now, I've got 3 times negative 1, which is what?
-3.
Negative 3. What do you do now to solve for x?
Add 3.
Add 3 to both sides. On the left side, you are left with negative 4x. On the right side, you have 0. Now, how do you solve for x? Divide by negative 4. Now, what is 0 divided by negative 4? 0. So my answer, remember, once again, it needs to be as an ordered pair. What is my ordered pair going to be?
0, -1.
0, -1. Questions? Yeah.
If you get no solution or infinitely many, will you get it on the first one and the second one?
Could be both. One or the other. All right, let's look at this one. 4y plus 3x equals 22, and 3x minus 4y equals 14. What do you notice?
If the 4 is in 3,
What did I do here that was different?
you switch to the 4Y.
I switched the x and the y's around. That's one thing you need to be aware of. Okay? Notice here, the top equation is y plus x, the bottom equation is x minus y. So what I need to do is rewrite the equations, and I'm going to rewrite my top equation so that x comes first. My bottom equation I'm going to leave alone. And then now, what happens if you add them together? What do you get? 6x. What happens to the y's? They're gone, and that equals 36. What do you do now? Divide by 6. So what does x equal? 6. Now, once again, doesn't matter what equation you plug it into. I'm going to probably plug it into the top equation. So I've got 3 times 6 plus 4y equals 22. What's 3 times 6? 18. What do you do now? Subtract 18. So 4y equals 4. What do you do now? Divide by 4. So y equals 1, and my solution is 6, 1. Like an elimination?
Yes.
Will it always work so that one of the variables can cancel?
Okay, question was, will it always work so one of the variables can cancel? The answer is today it will. Okay, now eventually we're going to look at what happens when they don't, and there is a way you can use elimination when they don't match up. And so we manipulate things a little bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this one.
Big numbers.
Now this one, if you notice, they don't match up exactly. They really match up close though. What's the only thing different?
Positive and negative.
The positive and the negative. And you know that I don't like subtraction, right? I only like to add. Okay? what you can do, if you remember on the start, it says elimination using addition and subtraction. Okay, what I'm gonna do is instead of subtracting here though, I'm just gonna go ahead and do this with the bottom equation.
Sounds good.
Okay, now you can do that if you're gonna switch each and every sign. Now what happens when I do that is that when I add them together, now what happens to the y's?
They disappear.
They disappear. What am I left with for the x's? 1x, yep, equals, try again.
8.
8, there we go. And so now, actually, I don't even need to divide by 1. X equals 8. So I can plug it into the top equation or the bottom equation. I would plug it into the top, just because I've manipulated the bottom a little bit. So I have 6 times 8 minus 9y, yep, equals 111. 6 times 8, as Nick's already said, is 48. Minus 9y equals 111. What do you do now?
Subtract 40.
Subtract 48, very good. So, negative 9y equals 63. Yep, so y equals negative 7. Your solution is
8, 7.
8, negative 7. Okay. All right, your turn. I want you to go ahead and work on this one for me. See how you do on this one. I want you to think about it. Okay, so we should be finishing up. Let's see how we did. Wow. Looking like we're doing great on this one.
So does that mean we're assigned?
Now, real quick, what we need to do here before we can get going is we need to distribute that 5. And so, as a lot of you did, you left the first equation alone, which was perfect. And then the bottom equation becomes 5x plus 5y equals 5. Okay, now you notice that the y's are opposite signs, so if you add these two equations together, you get 8x. Your y's are gone, and you get that to equal 16. Now what ends up happening is when you divide by 8, you should have gotten x to equal 2. A lot of you already plugged in 2, and when you plugged it in again, you got the solution 2, negative 1. So, nice job. Okay. So today, your assignment then. Okay, hopefully we're going to be moving toward. There's your assignment on page 354, 7 through 18, 26 through 28. Now just a little bit. This is what you can plan to do. Tomorrow, you're going to have a quiz. You're also going to have a worksheet tomorrow over section 3. So quiz and worksheet tomorrow. All right. And then, so really we will check both assignments on Friday at the start of class.